The new dawn left behind countless questions after completion, questions we searched for throughout the entire game, but never seemed to get an answer to. Or did we? Perhaps we were asking the wrong questions, or maybe the answers were given, only hidden skillfully behind the peculiarities of the narrative. Today, I'll try to dispel the major mysteries of one of the most fascinating and striking survival horrors since the first Dead Space. Before we begin, I'll only ask you to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It'll greatly help delay the global epidemic and humanity's extinction. Where did the disease come from? The change, a horrifying affliction that wiped out humanity. But where did it come from? I believe this was the main question on everyone's mind long before the game's finale. And yes, I too was frustrated when I didn't receive a clear answer. Yet, if you play attentively, you'll notice several clues the developers left behind for those who sought the true source of the plague. Through them, we can piece together how and where the disease that doomed mankind may have first appeared. Version 1. They drilled too deep. Within the game, there's a newspaper clipping with no date, referencing a mine where a catastrophe took place during excavation. The note reads, "On the latest project to drill the deepest borehole in history, under the leadership of a certain Mr. Azakov, a fatal accident occurred. When the drill reached a depth of just over 14 kilometers, it suddenly stopped and began to melt, triggering an explosion that killed most of those present. While the communist authorities attempt to deny the incident, a few surviving scientists openly speak about it. They also claim they heard soul-rending screams of agony echoing from the depths of the shaft. Did they really drill into the well to hell? Many of you may notice a clear parallel with the real-world Kola Super Deep borehole in Russia, surrounded by numerous legends, including those about infernal whales rising from the depths. But the article never explicitly mentions Kola. Moreover, the depth of 14 kilometers doesn't match the Kola borehole's 12,262 meters. And let's be honest, it would be far too random to insert such a note if it weren't tied into the main story of the game. I believe the reference is to a mine in Poland, possibly at the New Dawn Metallurgical Plant itself, where the infection first began to spread. Version 2. The communists are to blame. During the flashbacks at the metallurgical plant, the traveler discovers letters containing military orders. In these, we find references to secret projects codenamed Seraphim and Twins. Project Seraphim is mentioned by Senior Officer Sebastian Dzick, who oversaw the military presence at the plant. This points to experiments being conducted directly on the grounds of the New Dawn Metallurgical Plant. What exactly the project entailed is never explained, but the orders include plans to move all workers into a quarantine zone. Twins is referenced in another order by an unknown officer who warns that under no circumstances should the plant repeat the fate of Project Twins. These fragments suggest that the plague may have originated from military scientific experiments. The very name Twins calls to mind conjoined twins, perhaps experiments in splicing people together, merging their bodies, or worse. Version 3. The disease was always with us. After the traveler extracts the collective essence from the metabiont in the Unity Hospital basement, she connects to a terminal and speaks to those who had been trapped beneath the hospital during humanity's final days. Among them was Dr. David Siebert, who had been studying the disease in hopes of defeating it. At one point, the traveler asks, "Was it us who brought the disease into this world?" referring to the travelers. Dr. Siebert, speaking through Angela, replies, "I think it was always here, waiting for its moment." From the very beginning, Siebert was at the outbreak's epicenter. He studied the change first in the metallurgical plant's quarantine zone, then at Unity Hospital, and finally in the basements, where he gathered patients, even the hopelessly infected and already altered, after the military ordered the extermination of all hospital patients. He carefully documented the disease's stages and symptoms, but never fully understood how it spread. One thing was clear, not through direct contact. Siebert's research showed that even those in complete isolation fell ill. Meanwhile, doctors working face-to-face with the infected, including Siebert himself and Veronika Kaminska, could remain symptom-free for long periods. The key lies in Siebert's words at the terminal. "I wouldn't be surprised if the disease was always here, waiting." He didn't mean it lurked beneath the earth. He meant it was within us, within humanity. Perhaps dormant in our DNA, biding its time until it could spark a new phase of human evolution. This explains why people with no contact whatsoever could suddenly show symptoms and mutate. Why no quarantine could save Veronika Kaminska, humanity, or anyone at all. Every human carried the change within them, and when it surfaced during Christmas 1981, nothing could have stopped it. Though the game only shows events in New Dawn, it's implied that the same thing began happening across Earth. Maybe a little earlier, maybe a little later. This is why the Pathfinder sought to take Veronika into the future, where collective technology might allow her to find a cure, then return to the moment before the change first appeared. Only then could humanity be spared its horrific fate. But even that was impossible, for Veronika, like everyone else, was already a carrier. No matter what choices are made at the end, she inevitably falls victim to the change. In both original endings, Veronika succumbs. And in the secret New Game Plus ending, she emerges from a REV pod. Though we don't see her directly, her very presence in the pod confirms she now wears a temporal shell. No longer human, but a traveler. Yet one detail hints that victory over the disease might be possible. When Dr. Siebert studied the Pathfinder, he discovered no trace of the change in his body. Travelers' shells are completely free of infection. Whoever grew these bodies sealed them in REV pods and implanted them with behavioral matrices, succeeded in creating organisms immune to the change. But they are not truly human. That's why we never see a traveler fused into biomass. They are biological mechanisms, shells, artificial constructs designed for missions. Humans, on the other hand, had no such fate. Their bodies fused into nightmare biomass, while their essences, their souls if you will, became united within the collective. Which of these fates is more horrifying is a question worth debating. What is the collective? The collective creates, awakens, and directs travelers on their missions, but what exactly is it? At first it seems like an organization, one dedicated to saving humanity or pursuing some hidden goal. It pulls essences of people from the past using travelers, then transfers them into something like a storage system through magnificent machines called terminals. So what is the collective? What are its true objectives? Why does it only ever send one traveler at a time? And why did it not intervene to undo what the Pathfinder had done when he sabotaged the awakening of new travelers? The truth is simple. The collective is not an organization. It has no headquarters, no leaders, no enforcers, no followers. No one sits in an office plotting humanity's salvation. The collective is literally a collective consciousness. The terminal, before being hacked by the rogue Pathfinder, was meant to extract essences from travelers' phylacteries and transfer them directly into the collective, into a unified mind of all humanity, a cloud of souls. The collective cannot act by itself. It has no physical form. To interact with the material world, an automated system cultivates artificial bodies and implants them with essences drawn from the collective, thus creating travelers. These shells are awakened, given missions, and sent into the past to harvest more essences, to expand the collective. But why? That too is a very good question. I believe that in its early stages, the collective may indeed have been a real organization. Its goal, to fundamentally change humanity's paradigm of existence, to elevate Homo sapiens into a radically new form of being. Wars, disasters, plagues, all showed how fragile humanity was in the face of external forces. A stray meteor the size of a city could erase millions of years of evolution. Why gamble with such high stakes against an uncaring universe? Perhaps a group calling themselves the Collective sought to free humans from fragile bodies and ascend them into a state where physical threats no longer mattered. But the project was never completed. The global outbreak struck. Or perhaps the experiments themselves caused the separation of body and consciousness. Either way, only the developers, through a sequel or additional material, can give us the definitive answer. But so far, the sequel doesn't exist, and the only extra we've received is an art book, containing precisely 0 useful lore. Are travelers human? In short, no. I would describe them as biological machines, created to perform specific tasks. Travelers rest in REV pods, remaining dormant until activated by the automated system. What exactly resides inside their temporal shells is unclear, but most likely artificially grown human tissue or partial bodies. We know it's not just wires or emptiness, for the corpses of travelers piled in the Pathfinder's lair show traces of blood. During the fight with the Pathfinder, when his suit is damaged, he clearly bleeds. So these shells are biological, but they are only vessels. Essences of humans are uploaded into them, stripped of memory, emotions, and feelings, leaving only traits necessary for survival and mission performance. Their objectives are shaped by the current needs of the collective. The main task seems to be replenishing itself with new essences, new souls. Thus, most awakened models are the standard travelers, time-hopping agents who extract essences and deliver them into terminals. There are other specialized types. Most important among them are the Pathfinders. Being a Pathfinder means serving as a guide for all other awakened travelers, carrying out the collective's mission. They wield legendary relics that make them powerful, unique, and dangerously independent. But every rift they create between past and present weakens the fabric of reality. Over time, this destabilization leads to anomalies, zones where not just the laws of physics, but the laws of existence itself begin to break. Constant incursions into the past gradually tear reality apart. Then there are the wardens, the repairmen. If the system detects failures, it cannot fix itself. It assigns the next traveler not to extract essences, but to repair damaged equipment. This is one of the few cases where 2 travelers may function simultaneously. At least, that's what the rogue Pathfinder claimed. Beyond these, there are Leviathans, Praetorians, Rangers, but virtually nothing is known about them. What are essence and phylactery? Essence is a person, their identity, inner world, thoughts, emotions, their soul. How exactly essence is stored in the brain is unknown, but it can be extracted in whole or in part. Travelers possess a device that connects to a person's head, extracting their essence and transferring it into the traveler's phylactery. The phylactery can contain the essence temporarily, isolating it within itself. The traveler must then connect to a terminal, where the essence is uploaded from the phylactery into the collective. But complications can occur if the traveler fails to reach a terminal in time, or if the phylactery is damaged. The stored essence may leak back, blending with, or even replacing, the traveler's own essence. This is what happened to traveler ND4335, who extracted the essence of a boy named Marcel Mazek. Something destabilized his anchor, the device that lets travelers dive into the past and return to their entry point. He returned far from his origin point with damage to his temporal shell at the phylactery's chamber. The boy's essence began to overwrite the traveler's own, ultimately taking full control. Records note that when Marcel's essence dominated, the traveler's adult male voice shifted to that of a child. The same occurred with the traveler after absorbing the collective essence of Dr. Siebert, Angela, and others fused by the change in Unity Hospital's basement. Their combined consciousnesses fought for dominance within her phylactery, a nightmarish cacophony in her mind. I hope I've managed to shed at least some light on the fascinating and mysterious lore of Cronos, the New Dawn. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and then discuss both the game and my theories in the comments below. Thanks for watching.